your blessings as well. And we will be discussing an issue that is very hot right now. We will try, together with Dr. Lucas and our esteemed panelists, to present to you, to give you a different dimension of this topic, because if we examine each word of the title separately, then we will be talking about water dynamics, whether we manage it properly. Even if you ask someone in the street what they think about the climate crisis and the climate change, they would know something about it, they would have heard. Then we will talk about the environment, because without it, it wouldn't be possible to harvest, to cultivate the land, to breed animals. And then we have water management. There are many things that many of us are asked to contribute with our thoughts, with our expertise, because without those important topics, without the environment, we can't do anything. Then we have energy. Regardless of what each one and every one of us chose, whether it was right, left, center, etc., then something else is happening. Yesterday, I was not part of a certain panel, so I was trying to understand what was actually happening. So I thought of this picture. If one was to look at us from afar, they would say, how is it possible that even without reaching a certain goal, an industry that is not reaching their goal, then how can they move forward? How are they successful? The same goes with football teams. A football team that hasn't set certain goals, whether we're going to participate in the UEFA Championship or the Conference League. Of course, all the effort goes for is done from all the players, but it's not easy to go forward without a certain plan. Now, the word to the co-moderator. I'd like to thank Yanis Balakakis for the invitation and for this very kind, nice hosting. Today we have four great and very esteemed colleagues. We are friends for many years now, and the subjects to be discussed are quite wide, and we want to also give you the time to ask your questions. Let's talk about the structure of this panel. We'll give you 2 to 3 minutes to each of you to present their thoughts, their topics, some initial thoughts, and then 2 or 3 rounds of questions will follow. Then we'll move on with the dialogue, and we'll pass on the word to the audience, to you. I believe that all topics are very important, but for those of you who are with us since yesterday, then you know that the hot topic is the topic of the water management. Up until a few years ago, we were only interested about the topic of water scarcity. But during the last few years, we've been having a lot of storms, for example, Ionos and other storms. So these are two sides of the same coin. So let me ask now my friend and esteemed colleague, Mr. Dr. Nicholas Derkas, to present to us his thoughts about the topic and the topic of Thessaly. Hello, everyone. I would also like to thank Jens Balakakis for this invitation. This is a very important topic for the region of Thessaly. For many other regions, but let's focus on Thessaly. For me, personally, this is a great opportunity to be involved in the organization, the body that's been created. It is something rather creative, innovative, and this body will be able to contribute to tackle this problem. On this topic of the creation of bodies that will be able to manage the water is something that I've been active for more than a decade. In 2000, we made a proposal to the Ministry of Agriculture, which was not accepted. It concerned the same topic, but later on, some decades after this, more specifically in 2023, before Daniel, we proposed that we created a central body that would create different regions and the water management in the Peloponnese region, in the Thessaly region, and elsewhere. Well, this body was created, unfortunately, after the storm Daniel in 2024, spring 2024. For me, and what's important to me is that this body will be able to research and to construct. So this body will be able to have knowledge, gain knowledge, know-how, and do more infrastructure works. This is something that has never been done before in Greece. It is something very different. I've experienced that in a similar body in the southern parts of France, but I believe that it is a great chance. It is something rather difficult, but it provides us with great chances and opportunities for the future. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nikos. Now let's move on to the second participant, our beloved Fanis Yemtos. He is a professor of the University of Agriculture. He is a professor emeritus for farm mechanization at the Thessaly University. Please share with us your thoughts on the topics of cultivation and the consequences of farming. Good afternoon, everyone. Many thanks to Jens Balakakis, Christina Mangu. I'd like to touch upon the topic of agriculture. Thessaly has the biggest plots of land to cultivate. They have reached the prices of 300 euros per land plot, compared to what the rest of Greece has reached, which is around 200 euros. Well, this is only possible because of the water irrigated. 50% of it, or rather 70% of the water irrigated, is subject of the over irrigation of the different aquifers. Then we see a problem with the water that's been mixed with salted water, with brackish water, and that means their crops and their plots of land are in danger of being distracted because of the possibility of irrigating brackish water. So we need to provide them with four security, so to say, different food safety, energy safety, water safety, and one more. Right now we have two proposals. The plan to manage the water basin of Pineos and the flood management plans that are right now proposing different works, different projects on how to manage floods, manage rains, manage ice that's been melted. And we will see how we can create dams, use dams, in order to save up around 350,000 cubic meters of water. If we won't be able to create those reservoirs, we won't be able to increase or keep up with the same produce and production, and there was the continuation of life and of those works in Thessaly will be unavailable.
Let's go to the colleague Alexis Papahadzis from the Department of Agricultural and Agrotechnology of the Thessaly University. As an agronomist, that you know very well the problems more than anyone, more or less. More than anyone, I would like to hear your point of view as far as the problem of the water in the farming sector and how it is connected with the environment and the economy. Thank you very much for the invitation and for this floor that Mr. Balakakis gave us as an agronomy department, a department that is totally connected with the future as we implicate robotics and technology and all the features that our farmers will be implicated with in the future. We are the only country that with our rivers we connect our rivers with the sea. Our rivers have 50 meters of depth, so our rivers irrigate the sea. So it's not only the management, the water management, or the transmission of the management, is the alteration of the farming, how we can go from hydroponic culture from water cultures, water farming, to new versions of farming and have a profit. There are many water crops nowadays, and they don't give the profit, the necessary profit, but they become a damage for the producer. The producers don't take back the money they have invested in these crops. So we insist that we have to transform, to comply the farming with the climate change, with trees, with annual crops that will give us the chance to make rain-fed agriculture. And let me explain for those who don't understand, it's agriculture which is fed only with the rainwater. It is irrigated only with the rainwater. Some years ago, I was invited in many workshops and work teams where all the countries studied how we can have a very productive farming, what are, agriculture, what are the types of agriculture that can be very profitable only with irrigated by the rainwater. Let me tell you that 1% of the watered olive trees are increased in Tunisia, and this water is left to the sea. So we should either with tree products that are adapted to the agriculture. We are talking about different trees, just like the nuts, the, the pistachio trees, and herbs. Let me tell you that our department, there is an MA in herbs and pharmaceutical herbs. So we try to get based on these crops. Another crop I would suggest is the sesame. Not the traditional crop of the sesame that we had in the previous years, but we talk for a new sesame crop. I keep telling to my students that all the grounds can be cultivated, not all the minds. We should open our mind and comply with the climate changes, comply our agriculture with the climate changes. You have a fun club among us. There is a fun club of you. Mr. Papachadis brought his students as well. They follow me in workshops and sessions. The next speaker is Mr. Moraitis. I would like your short proposal for the environment, recycling, and of course the agriculture sector, and if you want to comment on energy issues. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the invitation as well. I represent the Association of Industry of Western Greece, and given the fact that the recycling, the waste management concerns me, I feel a little bit special talking with you today. Hopefully, I will offer my expertise and knowledge in this panel. Thinking about on what we could talk about in this panel. The first part is the association, which is an association with history of 60 years, and it has a lot of members who are absolutely connected with our discussion. Members connected with agro-food, directly connected with the producers, and of course, as a matter of land, they find themselves to the primary sector, which is a sector that gives a great importance in this discussion. So I think that cooperation and collaboration should be very effective and can offer as far as innovation, logistics, and new technologies is concerned. As part of a company that manages waste, we are included in this agricultural sector through the management of fertilizers packages. We are closer to the farmers and we start to understand the procedure. And I feel that we can offer also our expertise in this sector. We have gone through disasters and damages, and productivity is a challenge for the future. We have made thoughts on the future, on the changes. I think that this adaptation is a primary aim for industry, so models and ideas should roll down to our collaborators. Innovation and research, which are part of a good industry practice, should be part of the cooperation. There are the industry infrastructures, of course, and to sum up, a sustainability notion is based on, after overcoming a crisis, to find out not only the reason of this crisis, but also to find out the infrastructures in order to prevent the crisis, or when it comes, to manage this crisis the best way. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moraitis. Let's warm up with some questions. We are more than warmed up. I love the connection and the game of this session. I could say that we discuss on environment, climate, and then waste management and water management. After a visit in Israel in 2016, and I would like to ask dear Nikos, before the final disaster, what should be the plan on what we want to produce and how we can deliver? How can we persuade the farmers to understand this? And what are the points that the farmer should fight for, and not only to be subsidized? You referred to Israel. Israel is a good example, especially as far as water management is concerned. It is an example, a country example, in a very difficult natural environment. You should know that we don't have such a serious problem in Greece. We have water management problem in Greece. If we measure the quantity of water, we have great difference with other countries. So we should take example of the example of Israel, because they have managed a great change. And in France, let me tell you that they had products from Israel that were competitive to their local products. The second thing is that we should see not only the water resources we have to support agriculture and farming, but to see the condition of our infrastructures and take care of them. I must say that I'm an optimistic person after what I have seen in Thessaly. You know what? There is such a problem at the management and the bad condition of the infrastructures that I understand the need of great projects, but at the same time, doing these projects, we will be able to improve the general situation. If we arrange, let's say, our house, we will be able to save water, we will be able to support our farming, our crops, and we'll be able to support the producers. So the producers will be able to make choices. Of course, we should improve the education, the training of the producers. We should go from experience, let's say, to a farming that is realized, that is made by experts and scientists. What I see working all these years in Thessaly, because Thessaly is an ideal place for those who take care and who study as far as water management and water scarcity is concerned, that I understand so, working all these years in Thessaly, that farmers, a lot of farmers, don't know how to water their crops. I assisted in a drop irrigation and a drop irrigation, and I realized that the farmer didn't know how to water his crops and at the same time polluted the environment. So for this way, we have to improve the education, the training of our farmers and the producers, and second, to find the infrastructures and of course to find the way, to find the institutions to support them. The new institution will aim to be next to the producer, not to control the producer, but to lead, to help them. Now, as far as the crops is concerned, I'm not the expert. There are experts here, but the problem that we have not, whether we don't have a lot of lands, is a great problem of Greece's countryside. The solution is not to isolate and let the farmers live, but to evolve and innovate the way they crop. So the medium land in Greece is 500 hectares. So we should solve other problems. Also, we should see if the plots of lands the farmers possess are sustainable. We cannot cut the lands in smaller pieces, so we should also control this problem. The problem of the minor exploitation is a very serious problem. Of course, you are not the expert, as you have already said, for the crops, but we have an expert for the crops here. So I would like my friend to ask, my friend Theophanis to ask the question. So, Fanis, probably you're not going to become a minister, but since in Thessaly we have a lot of problems with cotton and with the crops, since the big lands is a very different problem. What would you say to the farmer of nowadays in order to comply with the necessities of the future as well? I had made a conclusion that the political system doesn't take care, they don't want to take care of the primary sector. I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with the political authorities, but they don't care about the primary sector. If they wanted to take care, there is a very serious point that the primary sector is not able to adapt in short or medium-term projects. We need long-term. Either we are talking about reservoirs or other plants or the irrigation or to persuade the farmers. We need a long-term plan. It's the same thing for the national agriculture policy. Since you mentioned Israel, at this moment, Israel, without our waters, without our climate, without anything, they have a very profitable agriculture. And I think that with our land, we could imitate the model of Israel, having great profits in our GDP, which means we could have at least 17% increase in our GDP. We're not talking about the 2.3 current increase in GDP. We could talk about the added value, how we could create new industries, how we could introduce new products. So now we should set our goals. What do we want? We want a productive agriculture. The common agriculture policy is good for the North people, for their imports, for their environmental issues, for biological crops, for biological agriculture. We are not North people. We are not interested in that. We are interested in producing products and income in order for our farmers to survive. What we need is a national agricultural policy. What do we want? Moreover, I disagree with the fact that you mentioned that the cutting of the land is a disadvantage. Of course, if the farmer has 40 or 50 plots of lands and nobody helps him, nobody supports him, his situation would be a disaster. So, of course, we need another model of agriculture where when the farmer will work and produce and will take the profit. For example, if the farmers have a profit of 25 to 30,000 per year, €1,000 per year, we should increase their profit. So, once again, we have to find out what do we want. We want a productive Greek economy, a productive Greek agriculture, both in agricultural and industrial sector, or do we want to become a productive model? We should take also the example of Erdogan in Turkey, who managed to take 1.3 trillion of dollars, making an irrigation plan within some months. If we want to do something, we should find out what are our goals and set a plan. You're talking about a very difficult situation. You mentioned very difficult issues. Important plans are not realized. But what made me to think of the past, when I was a student back in 80s, students that are here nowadays are taught, are ready. I wasn't. Are taught in theory and in action to overcome all these problems, to deal with all these problems. Of course, all the agricultural scientists are not going to become ministers. Let me tell you that. Of course, we don't have the expertise. We don't belong to the hot sectors who might become ministers. Israel was given as an example of the great profits by its agriculture. The Netherlands has also a great profit, and Greece has the less profit of 290 euros. Why is that? Because of the crops, the fact they had aimed, they have found out their aims and they set their goals. Of course, these crops leave a certain income to the farmers.
Now, let's talk about our students, about the topics of agronomics and agriculture. Nowadays, even the smallest producers should take up on the challenge of precision agriculture with the variable irrigation and fertilization based on the needs of the crops. Well, if you've watched what happens to a field, a plot of land, its water, its color is different. And that's because of the water available. The Netherlands is, I think, only by a little bigger compared to the Peloponnese of Greece. So they've managed to have a great agricultural sector with the help of technology, and they have intensive crops as well. We can as well, with the use of modern technology, to have trees, with the use of certain tools and great results. My students know it that since 1 year there is a tractor there is a machine that can actually help with the harvesting of fruit using um, the sound, using um, certain technologies. And now my question to the students, are you ready for the next 10 years to face what we are discussing right now? Please tell me. Are you ready? Yes or no? Comme si, comme ça, probably. Later on, you'll have the floor and you can ask your questions. I'm trying to ask you because we were only taught in theory back then, and we gained so much with the experience later on. Let us close this first round of questions. A sensitive issue, the issue of the environment. Mr. Moretti, I know that you've been active on this topic. We have certain products, how to protect them, and we've heard about spraying and what the byproducts of spraying, where do those land, and how they influence the environment. We have some producers and farmers that are disrespectful to the environment, and they just throw anywhere the containers of those substances. They might also clean the container and pour the rest of these mix into the ground directly. So we have a lot of issues. Just one small parenthesis to what you've asked. I see that there is a resemblance between enterprises and the economy of Greece. I see that there is the water. We're talking about how to increase the size of the produce. We're trying to uh, implement new things and be better. What you said about the chemicals, of course, there is need to run certain actions, certain projects. So we need to think of circular economy. We need to reintroduce all of those products back into the environment to protect our environment. Well, the issue of new containers and byproducts is a big, huge one. I just started seeing that in the region of Thessaly. We are trying to look for the places where one can find those products, and there aren't much. So one needs to find a good way and a good practice in order to gather all of those things and give them away so that they're not posing any threat to the environment. With the municipality of Rigas Piraeus, we've been working hard to gather all of those products and containers. We had someone when we were doing this job who was about to spray his field or a field. He was wearing his protective suit and he didn't bother about us. He went on to do his work, he did his work, and afterwards he actually threw the container of what he sprayed into the ground. And I went there and asked him, why did you do that? Aren't you aware of what you're doing? This thing that you're throwing away on the ground will reach the water that you drink, the food that you eat. He didn't know what to say to me. Mr. Bodikas, I'm aware that you've been trying very hard for many years now on this topic. This is a topic with many difficulties. You're very active with providing information to the producers, the farmers, and trying to change things. I believe this is an important one, and we don't just keep going like that, but we push harder, we try harder, but we must be aware of the situation and we need to start from somewhere. Even with the municipalities, they should run this project. Thank you very much for this comment. I'm also the president of the Greek Organization for Plant Protection. After many years and after the last debate meeting we had the ministry, we reached, of course, certain conclusions, and we said that the environment is giving money, but it's also taking money. It is actually an offense to throw away the containers of all of those chemicals. One can clean these containers, and there are systems that help each farmer do this safely. Let's now go on to the next round of questions. Mr. Gementos, there have been various statistics during the last few years that showcase that there is a lot of land plant abandonment in Thessaly. On the other hand, there are many voices that say that in order to face the water issue in Thessaly, we should probably send people away, abandon what they're doing, or rather, as well, change the irrigated crops into only rain-fed agriculture. Seeing everything that's been happening, and of course the change of the climate, is all of this possible? Can we turn things over? There are different issues. Just a few words on the topic of the management of the containers of different chemicals. The farmers, for at least the last 15 years, have been left alone. No instructions, no help, no no second thoughts. That is a bigger problem. The next problem is that at some point we need to train our farmers for the issues that the environment face and the importance of safeguarding and protecting the environment. If we don't do that, then nothing will be achieved. In Sahara region, they had their own sprayers and they trained people not to throw away those containers. And they were very strict about it. But everywhere you went in the area, you saw the empty containers everywhere. Unfortunately, there is no debate, no forum about the protection of the environment, the protection of the consumers. Is there anyone providing just thoughts and opinions about when the farmers should spray their fields? We've seen many differences, different approaches, and I insist, if we don't create a national strategic plan about agriculture, then we cannot go anywhere. Now, there are some people who believe that the water management issue and the water scarcity issue, it won't be solved with no other way rather than changing the crops that have been planted to rain-fed. Irrigated plots give out around 500 euros per plot of land. Some have suggested that we should reduce the irrigated plots of land down to less than 1 million plots of land. We're talking about 30% of reduction to the Thessaly region. You also commented on the reduction of the different plots of land that can be cultivated. Well, if you go around Thessaly and you look into the different plots of land, you will see many of them having a certain, a different, actually, consistency because the water has helped and has moved the soil, and there's only rocks beneath. So there's the issue of protecting those plots of land. An example from the cotton industry. Nowadays, the cotton actually pays 40 cents per kilo to the farmer. But their costs actually are more than this. So what we do, we give them subsidies. No matter what we do, then there won't be any actual profit for them. So then we come to the solution. Either we reduce the plots of land that are actually being created and cultivated, or we create a system for the cultivation, which types of crops we want. We also create a plan based on the Common Agriculture Policy, and my opinion is, once again, if we don't reach a conclusion of how we're going to move forward into the future, then no one will be left in these areas. Everyone will have moved into the cities, and that's all. One question to Nikos now. In the academic and research industry and field, you have a lot of experience in Greece and abroad. But right now, my dear Nikos, you find yourself elsewhere, in a place where there is a lot to do. And as a president of this new body, if you could do the planning for Thessaly, what would be the immediate long-term and short-term measures, as well as projects that you would like to implement for them to take shape? I know that you cannot do that on your own. I know that you need further planning, financing, funding. What would you put forward? More specifically for all the water resources. Well, thank you for this question. It is a very timely one. I haven't actually stepped down from the academic field, but I now have to face a new challenge. I was about to go on and end up my career, but right now I am living a second youth, so to say, with this new body. As you know, we have the universities and their research, the plan that we make, but they're far from the reality. But here, we need to be very closely to the reality, and we need to give people results. So during the first year of this body functioning, we came into contact with many bodies, whether that is different reclamation works, industries in the field or elsewhere, in Greece or abroad. What I saw and what I've been heard really made me have second thoughts. The works that exist in Thessaly have no general plan. Many of them are very badly planned. No actual improvement for them has been seen, and there is no general plan behind them. Can I tell you that we also don't know where they stand and where they end? They might have had an initial proposal for this project to be around 18,000 acres, and now they reach out up to 40,000 acres. I was present at actually at receiving a new network. We weren't actually the official body to receive it, but we were present during this handover. I asked the chief engineer, is there a way to set up different settings? Are there different possibilities to regulate things. So there were many things that were actually missing from a modern network. So what's the purpose of it actually happening? There needs to be a report, a study behind it. If you want to foresee how a certain area will develop further, what crops are going to be there, and how much irrigation will be needed, is difficult. Even the French has said that foreseeing what will happen in the future is difficult, but I will be able to see things and plan things for the next 10 to 15 years. And then I will be able to change things up, change the settings, plan further if the needs are greater than what I can cover right now. In Greece, we haven't done that. But let me tell you that we have great scientists here, great students, great minds that weren't taken advantage of, so to say. Their minds, their expertise weren't used. Right now, this will be happening from now on. So people who will be aware of all of those practices, all of those needs, and I'm talking about flood prevention works and many more works. So I'm an optimist. We need to coordinate with the research fields and put pressure on the government and the ministry to to do all of those projects, and the region as well. Of course, the result won't come tomorrow, but we need to work for it. I'm also speaking for precision farming, and that's what I've been doing all of those years of my work, and I've written about those things, and our students really like those subjects. Precision farming is something that will help us improve us, but more steps need to have happened before that. So we cannot launch a rocket into the space before doing all things that are needed to get there. For example, we've created certain platforms that actually can make estimates so that people know how much irrigation is needed. So there will be more systems which we've worked upon in order to have precise irrigation, precise precision farming. Those won't solve the issue of Thessaly. Thank you, Nikos. Now let's move into Mr. Papahadzis.
Another issue is energy. I would like to give us your point of view and experience because energy is a very hot issue nowadays. And of course, energy is very expensive nowadays. Not only in Greece, but internationally, energy and water is a very hot topic. And I would like to propose ways to save energy and, of course, ways to produce energy for the farming sector and how this is accessible. As far as energy is concerned, if net metering continue to produce um, to produce for the protection, and of course the conservation of the products. More than 30% of energy with the solar cells, solar panels, and of course to save the energy. Of course, these solar panels are, of course, with not metering, there is no option as far as the farmers is concerned. I don't remember the other application for the solar panels. It is impossible for the farmers to have this. Uh, Sorry, there is problem with the sound. There's a problem with the sound. Okay, the speaker was talking about the wind turbines and gives an example from the past. Either for with the solar panels or the wind turbines. Also, there are batteries nowadays for the restock of the energy. It was a project that we might run with Israel. And also there was a project with biological batteries along with our greenhouses. We could produce energy as small solar panels. As far as the greenhouses is concerned, we have undertaken a lot of programs, European programs, with which we had not only a 50% of reduction of the consumption, but also of 13-50% of the consumption along with the greenhouses with new technology. So all these steps lead not only to diminish the production and the consumption of the energy, as well as the production and consumption of the water and also of the carbon. Thank you very much. You were very short. Thank you very much. Mr. Moraitis, you referred to the environment, recycling, packages. Of course, the negative point, the negative effect of agriculture in the environment. The environment is not the only to blame, of course. The farmers are to blame. Is the excessive use of chemicals and that pollute the resources, the superficial resources, and of course the ground resources for our land. And they pollute also the water table. For our land, there is a great pollution of the water. Since you are a market person, you take into consideration the trade as well. Let me point out the issue. I don't know if you are concerned with that. We make efforts, and of course, there are the programs to which the other speakers referred to. I don't know how effective these programs might be. Probably it's a low effectiveness. What could we do as far as this issue is concerned? So suddenly, when I followed my master in England, I decided my thesis to be on a very difficult issue for the region of Domokos. When I referred to this issue, it wasn't a very graded one. Let me tell you that my thesis was on the denitrification of the land of Domokoso. It was very difficult for this period of time. So, we have a lot of problems in Greece. Of course, there are institutions and programs that support these problems, and of course, there are a lot of infrastructure issues and problems on how to solve them. But let me point out and insist on the training and education of the farmers, which is, according to my point of view, is the major problem. Doing my thesis on denitrification, I realized that this is the basis of our problems, the training and the education, also the lack of plans. When we leave the farmers all alone, unsupported, of course, they are not the experts to know how to solve the problems that occur. Of course, I have seen these two other issues as well. Each person who takes care of issues on environmental problems, and of course, if there is the environmental aspect on a problem we have, we ask for help. Take as an example the hospitals. Hospitals are supported and also ask for help for environmental issues from EOD, not only for health issues, but also for environmental problem. This is exactly the same thing. Farmers should ask for help as far as environmental aspect of their work is concerned. Also, let me comment on something. Practically, what's the problem? We have dairy production units, cheese production units, that exploit their own production, that take advantage of their own production, and they have a zero profit. So they use it as an advantage. They use it as an advantage. So cheese production in our land does exactly the same thing. And if we take Germany as a comparison, there are factories, there are energy production factories from biomass. There are system of biomass exploitation. So the one thing is energy autonomy on the one hand, which is difficult because the greatest companies exploit the land in order to for this energy autonomy. But we have to see what are the chances for this energy autonomy. Biomass and other aspects. Of course, there are programs that support farmers as far as this energy autonomy is concerned. We have companies that are emerged as a startup companies who promote production. There are optimum examples, and we should emphasize and try to cooperate and collaborate. Yanis Valakakis, I think he wants to talk. He blinks the eyes all the time. So we are out of time. We can have 3 questions. My name is Kostas Goumas. I'm a pensioner agronomist, and I would like to ask a question to my friend. In 2021, in AgriBusiness Forum 2021, I was invited by Mr. Balakakis, along with Mr. Derkas Papayanidis and I pointed out that the projects of SLAP have a lot of problems as far as the expectations of the accomplishment is concerned. We're talking about the projects of water catchment management plans. In order to avoid the environmental crisis in the end for Thessaly, we want to create an effective organization of water management and, of course, the modernization of the water management effects. All these years, we only have the constitution of the Water Management Association, and I would like to ask Mr. Derkas how and when we will be able to control all these problems and to have construction management services as well. What makes you very positive in this situation when at the same time the government wants to construct a national management system? Thank you very much for your question and comment. Just let me tell you a few things. There are difficulties for new institution to be built in the Greek reality. Of course, we know that. But you should keep in mind that, first of all, that the organization, according to the official gazette, should be within a year be constructed. So this year is not end yet. Second, you say that we don't have a budget. The services didn't respond on time. I admit that. But now, we chase the state in order to do what they have to do. They don't come to us. We have to pass the regulation of the external use function, and when this is made, we will be able to have the necessary documentation and certification, and the institution is ready to comply with. It's not such negative and blurry the situation. We're only the board of directors, but we submitted 13 research programs. All the research team is in the program. This will be a field research, a research adapted to the needs of the farmers. We work in Thessaly, the University of Thessaly, along with the Agricultural University. We have made researches and we have conclusions. For example, we gave to the public the methodology that counts the real consumption along with digitalized. We invested to the cotton and to crops. So I think that as far as the academic field is concerned, it's not such blur. Of course, we don't fight the news every day. You can understand that. A new institution, a new organization is a very difficult venture. There are a lot of things to do, but we have to do our best. And of course, I know how this organization should be built because I have lived abroad. You should be patient and you should understand that all the great projects are not controlled by us. We try to motivate the government. We try to motivate the government to support this venture. We are going to arrange this situation. This would be a very quick result. So, as you can understand, we have no time. You can discuss anything you want to the next AgriBusiness Forum. Of course, you can cheat the chat during the coffee break and ask any questions you want. So this is the end of this session. Thank you very much, the participants, the speakers, of course, the audience that you assisted this very difficult and important session. Thank you for the students of Mr. Papahadzis. Miss Yanis blinks all the time, so I run out of time. It's in 15 minutes we have our last session with the governor and the ambassadors of 3 countries. They will discuss in English, so you can take your headphones in order to follow the interpreters, and you will return your headphones at the end of the session. Thank you very much. We have a break.